Wander Wealthy Podcast, episode 115. Hello, my loves. Welcome back to another episode of the Wander Wealthy Podcast. My name is Tess. If you are new to the show, I am the host and founder of Wander Wealthy, which is a platform to help online service-based business owners feel a little bit more comfortable talking about that taboo topic, which is money and some other stuff like running a business and personal development and all the fun, crazy things that we go through as business owners. So thank you so much for tuning in today. We're doing another solo show and I am super excited, you guys. I have been just thinking about all the things I wanted to update you on and talk about today. And the big thing, which is the main topic of this show, how to change your world, which feels very like pie in the sky. How the heck am I gonna make that happen on a podcast episode? But it's not really about that. It's more about kind of the steps and the opportunities that are available to you to change the way that you think and you view your world so that you can actually change your world. So we're going to talk about that, but I wanted to give you a little bit of an update on what's happening with me, Wander Wealthy, and kind of this new period of my life that I'm going through right now. I guess a certain stage, not of my life, but I guess of the year is how I like to put it. And talk about some more opportunities coming up this end of summer, getting into fall time. Can you guys believe we are like kind of in the thick of summer? If you've been following along with me for a couple of months at least, then you would know that last month over June, my fiance and I were in the south of Italy. We were staying in a home next to one of his childhood homes that he grew up in, and we were right by the sea, and it was wonderful. Such a beautiful experience. I talked about it on a previous episode, how it was really kind of our active manifestation. We have this dream to build a home in the south of Italy, right along the seaside, and we wanted to kind of test out what that would look like. So we spent June in Salento, that is a small region at the southern tip of Puglia, which is like the official region within Italy. It's the heel of the boot, pretty unvisited by American tourists. So it is really interesting and a cool experience for me to get exposure to and then tell all of my friends and family and you guys, which you know, you guys are my friends, tell you all about it and how beautiful it is. If you followed me on Instagram, you've been seeing my stories, and yeah, it's just a magical, magical place. So anyway, we're now back in Milan and getting settled in back into our routine. There is a lot to say for having your desk and your place where you go to work and having that separation, and also your coffee shops and your gym and your community. But while we were down in the south, I ran the Guilt-Free Spending System workshop. We wrapped that up. Time has totally flown by with the 4th of July, but we wrapped that up last week and it was such a wonderful experience. A very small group of people, and we dove into setting income goals, getting over limiting beliefs and limiting stories, and making some big mindset shifts around what you can really bring in terms of income goals, and then identifying how your personal income goals feed into your overall business revenue goals, and setting revenue goals that make sense rather than just saying, oh, I want to go after that 6-figure year or the 5-figure months, which I like to call vanity numbers. So we really drilled in on that and had a wonderful experience within the workshop. Now I'm going to be hosting the workshop again in a couple months' time. I'm aiming for end of August, early September. And in kind of gearing up for that workshop, I am conducting some research, some market research and interviews with those who are online service-based business owners. So if you would love to do me a favor and get on the phone and have a little chat with me, I would so love and appreciate that. So if you are an online service-based business owner, specifically an online coach, professional organizers, life coaches, business coaches, money coaches, yes, you too, or a health and fitness, nutrition and wellness coach, spiritual coach, all of the online coaches or any other type of online service-based business owner, if you put yourself in that category and you want to get on the phone with me and just have a conversation, I promise no pitches or anything, then please, I would love that. It would actually help me out a lot because I'm really just trying to figure out what it is that you're looking for in terms of money, but also other stuff in business. And we can just have a really fun conversation. So if you'd be open to doing that, I would love it if you could email me at tess@wanderwealthy.com. And then I can send you a scheduling link and we can get that together. So I'm conducting these interviews over the next month or so. So between now, which is kind of mid-July, until mid-August, I'd love to get you on the schedule. Okay, the other thing, big update from me that is going on is I am really going into a period of this year. I'm going into a period of learning and fine-tuning. I'm reading a book called Do Less by Kate Northrup, and I'm actually going to be interviewing her on the show, which should be coming out in September, October timeframe. But she wrote this book about how we as humans are very much a piece of nature. And if you think about like how in the industry of agriculture, if we try to harvest crops from a field constantly, we actually reduce the nutritional value and quality of the actual crop. So whatever it is that we're growing. And obviously farmers aren't just constantly planting and harvesting crops all year. There's a time for planting and a time for harvesting, and it happens in specific cycles. So in Kate's book, Do Less, she really talks about how as humans, with the agricultural industry, we're really pushing it to be like, we need to harvest all the time and constantly. So we always have fresh bananas and avocados and berries, right? But we know that really there is an in-season period and an out-of-season period for these things. But we've gotten to the point as just an advanced society to expect that these fruits and vegetables are going to be in season all year round. And the same is going to show for human harvesting, like harvesting of production in terms of what do we do as workers? What are we producing? What are we creating? And in any type of work environment, really the expectation is that we are constantly harvesting and creating and putting things out and selling things all the time. And what's really interesting is obviously we know in agriculture, as things get harvested, they, deplete their nutrients as they're just constantly, the soil is constantly being used for growing the same type of crop over and over again. And the same is kind of there for humans. So I'm not going to go too much more into this detail because we're going to talk about that with Kate, but I find it so fascinating. And I've always, felt a little bad or guilty for times where I do kind of stop with the selling, stop with constantly creating something new, and instead turn inward. And for the most part, people don't even do this. We don't take time to reflect and fine-tune what it is that we are creating and putting out in the world. And I think that that is really important. In addition, there's also this time for learning and becoming a better version of yourself. And so all that being said, for me, this is really my period of starting to learn again. And I will say it is very important that as entrepreneurs especially, we have very set boundaries around consuming and learning versus taking action. That is so important because I am totally a person, I get into that habit of just wanting to check things off and like acquire more certificates and letters and whatnot. And it's really important to make sure that you are not only just consuming and getting certified in things, but when you're getting certified, you're also taking action through that and you're showing that the learning is creating results rather than just constantly consuming. Because otherwise, we get in this habit of just consume, never take action, and then we wonder why we're not getting the results that we want. So it is really important to be very careful about that. But I think it's really cool to do these types of things in cycles. So I've had a period, especially during this year, of pivoting and then launching, and now I'm kind of in the refinement and fine-tuning and learning stage of my year. Right now, I'm really going inward on how to improve the guilt-free spending system workshop and, of course, just working with my one-on-one clients. I'm also opening up a couple slots for specifically business owners who want to work with me one-on-one. So I'm going to talk about that at the end of this episode. But with that being said, this is really not a hard push launch period for me. It's really a turning inward, fine-tuning, figuring out what's working, what's not, and making sure that the next time I bring forward my workshop or I'm really pitching open spots for coaching, that it is with that best foot forward. And we can only put our best foot forward from the previous time that we've done this if we go through and do the learning and the fine tuning. So I'm reading that book, Do Less by Kate Northrup, and I'm getting certified in NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming, hypnosis, and EFT, emotional freedom technique, as well as becoming a certified life and success coach. Now that sounds like a lot of stuff, but really it's all these various components that really link together to help your clients. So once I get certified in this, it'll help my clients really go through a transition and really have those transformations that they're looking for, that are not only here's a lot of the tactical, practical stuff that you can implement in your financial lives and in your businesses, but also let's work on some of that mindset stuff. Because if you guys listened to last week's episode with Natalie Bacon, we really talked about how if you're trying to do something and you're changing up the practical, tactical components, but things are still not shifting and changing for you, or you're not getting to your goals, it's most likely because it's your mindset that is holding you back, not necessarily the practical things. The practical things are great. It's great to have an app that works for you. It's great to have the bookkeeping software that you love. It's great to have the bank account set up. But you also need to work on your mind in order for those tools to really support you. Because at the end of the day, you are you, and this tool is just kind of a third-party thing that is awesome when you are in the right mindset, but is going to do nothing for you if you don't show up with the right mindset. So I'm really working on this certification to help my clients go through that transformation even further. We've been doing a lot of mindset work already to this point, but I'm just ready to bring that to the next level and provide a true transformational experience for my clients. So I'm super excited to share more about my learnings with you guys. I think this is so fun to bring you along on this journey to experience how I'm really changing the way that I'm looking at things and believing things and seeing the world, and the work that I'm starting to implement with my clients already today from just the exposure that I'm getting to this certification process. So that leads me into today's topic, which I'm going to be honest, we're not going to spend a ton of time on it because it's really much more a process rather than getting in the weeds and working on it. But it's this idea of changing your world and the fact that it is possible. Now, I work with my clients a lot to shift their beliefs around money, but you can zoom out and use this on so many other aspects of your life, not just the money stuff. So I'm going to speak a little bit more generally, but know that whatever aspect of your world that you are unhappy with or unfulfilled with or just feel a little bit stuck with, you can absolutely make those changes. And I'm going to share what I've been learning in my NLP certification training that I believe you could break it down and apply to your life, or know that this is what you would work with if you hired a coach to start shifting some of these aspects. So whether you're trying to lose weight or just get motivated or make more money or develop a better relationship with your parents or with your partner, or just reduce stress, whether that's social anxiety or stress from work, whatever it is that you're really feeling stuck or you feel frustrated with, you can change that. And so I'm going to walk you through kind of the process of what it's like to work with a coach when you are working on changing these aspects of your life. So the first thing we need to do, and this is something I'm already doing within my workshops and with my clients in private coaching, is understanding your model of the world. Now, if you were to work with a coach, there's a lot of different ways that we could figure this out. But what does it mean, your model of the world? What it really means is how you see things and how you have developed stories to believe things about yourself or about the circumstances that are happening in your life. So we can understand that in coaching through the way that you speak about things, the words that you are using or the language that you are using when you're talking about whatever it is that maybe you want to change or you're frustrated with or you're stressed about, or you just feel like you're stuck around. So we can understand that through the language as well as through exactly what you're saying. Although you might not mean what you're saying consciously, your subconscious mind is speaking through your language, which can feel a little bit weird to grasp onto, but it really is that your subconscious mind has all of this programming that's been programmed within you since you were 0 years old. Up until usually 7 is when we really develop those strong beliefs about money and how we need to act within our relationships and about food and all these things that we assume are the very important things that we need for survival. So obviously money, because you need money to survive for the most part. You need food to survive, and you need a community and relationships to survive. And these are often the things that we want to work on the most when we do hire a coach. So the language that you're using, some of the words, but also some of the assumptions that you are making unconsciously, but you'll say it without even realizing it. So you'll just say something like, oh, she hates me, or, oh, I'll never be able to do that, or people like me are never able to do that. And these are assumptions or presuppositions that we can grasp from your language. We can also grasp just based on whether you say, I think, I feel, or it seems, or I hear what you're saying. When you use various words, we can understand how you picture the world internally. And then we can also kind of back up and help paint pictures from your past to understand what sort of programming has been programmed within you. And when we do that, we're able to help you and help ourselves as the coach understand what your view of the world is. And that will really help us develop a framework to get you through and change and make that lasting transformation. So the first step is to really establish your model of the world. What I've been doing a lot with my clients and in my workshops is helping my clients understand those deep-seated limiting beliefs that they have around money specifically, since I like to work specifically with money. We understand the limiting beliefs around how maybe our family or ourselves judge people with money and how that can impact us when it comes to spending money that we would like to spend, but we never quite allow ourselves to get there, or make the money that we would like to make, but we have some sort of set points that have been established from way early on that we aren't even realizing are there. I also like to help my clients understand exactly that. Maybe they have these income set points and they're not able to allow themselves to make money because that would send them above and beyond what is necessary, and I'm using quotes here, what is necessary or enough to live on when it comes to your family unit or your community. Maybe that having that much money, nobody needs that much money, or language like that. So really understanding what's been programmed in you from childhood, but also maybe you still hold on to those things, especially if you are fearful of the judgment of others. And so we really identify those and unpack them. And for most of my clients, a lot of them think, I don't think that would be a problem. I don't think making a lot of money or making more money than my parents would really be a problem. But then we really back into it and do some exercises to understand how that would feel and get into the body of them as a child. And you start to realize some things come up that you never thought would come up that make you uncomfortable about having lots of money. And then we have to work on that. So what we do next is we try to shake up and loosen this model of the world in relation to the problem, that stuck point, that frustration point, or just, that big thing that you can't seem to get to, that big goal. We try to loosen the model of the world that the client, you or myself, if I'm working on myself, that I have. So I'm really trying to shake it up. And basically what I'm doing, and I use this a lot within financial coaching, is the idea of zooming way out. And so if you're in your world so deeply, and you have these beliefs, and we think all of these beliefs are true because that's just what we've been used to and we've acclimated to throughout our life, what I like to do is zoom way out to understand, what is the purpose? What is the true meaning of this? What is going on here? And so within coaching, what we typically do is we just ask a lot of questions to bring you to what we can consider the meta model, get you really meta and thinking about what is the purpose of this? For what purpose do I want to make a ton of money? Or for what purpose do I want to be successful? And we start establishing that this very specific model that you've originally had, that in step one, that model, those limiting beliefs, those things that we're really bumping up against about this big problem or obstacle that we want to overcome, those aren't so necessary anymore. And the only way we can identify that it's not as necessary to hold on and grasp onto those limiting beliefs so tightly, which most people don't even realize they're doing, but once we do realize, okay, we're doing that, then we need to shake it up and loosen it up a little bit. So we go through various processes to get you to zoom way out, how I like to say it, and even reframe what those beliefs might really mean. Then what we do in order to change your world and change your viewpoints on some things or change your beliefs that will ultimately lead to you taking more actions that are going to help you is we do change work. And this is what I talk about a lot. So within my workshops, I often have my clients and my attendees go through the process of identifying their model of the world. And then we work on changing it up. And a lot of the change work that I recommend is EFT, emotional freedom technique. It is a form of tapping and doing energy work to basically release these deep-seated emotions that we hold on so tightly to. We can do EFT, we can do hypnotherapy, and I also recommend a lot of journaling. Through my NLP practitioner certification, I'm learning a lot of other tools and methods to do this change work, such as anchoring, time techniques, submodalities, strategies, and parts integration. So I'm basically adding more fuel to this fire while also getting EFT certified and hypnotherapy certified. I'm just able to take these change work tools and actually take my clients through the change work with me so they can come out feeling like, oh my gosh, I no longer think that, people like me aren't able to make that amount of money. Or I no longer think that charging thousands of dollars for my services is going to be way too much. And I do want to make sure we touch on in this episode specifically, because the idea of changing your world sounds really great, especially if you have this limiting belief or you really do feel stuck or frustrated or stressed about one specific problem. The important thing to note is this is an ongoing process. You can loosen things up and change, but you're going to change it on a level, and then you're going to realize that there's deeper things that we need to work on. The good news is the more you chip away at it, the easier it is to not only chip away at it more, but also to overcome some of those little hurdles. So, you might go from, okay, it was hard for me to charge $300 for a call per client coaching session. And now I can easily charge $500. And then we chip away at that, and now I can easily charge $750. So you can make certain things easier and easier, but you're not going to go from 0 to 1,000 in a session. It does take time, and it is an ever-going process, and there's all these small things that are going to pop up, but it's just going to make you more and more aware and enlightened and able to get over these hurdles much faster when you start doing this process. So now you know what those beliefs are and becoming aware about the fact that you're just holding on and grasping onto them so tightly. Then we do some exercises to loosen them up, and then we go through the change work, basically reframing and changing how we feel about certain things or changing the way that we view certain things, and we can seriously change on a subconscious level how we feel and what we think about how we're able to make money or be able to get motivated really quickly, especially if that's something that you've struggled with deeply. Or, there's a lot of people who use hypnotherapy and some NLP to help people stop smoking or to help people stop overeating. So there's so many behaviors and problems and struggles that you can overcome through doing these various bits of change work, whether it's hypnosis, EFT, time techniques, and so on. So the next thing that we do, those are the first 3 steps. The fourth step is to really just do kind of a cleanup and make sure that you are now in alignment and you feel fully integrated. And so this depends on what type of change work you do. And so what we do when we finish and wrap up that change work is check for alignment and congruency and make sure, okay, do you feel like what we have done is now bringing you over the hump? And we make sure that you really feel like this is going in a positive direction. And so that's just really important, especially because we are working on such a subconscious level. What we're doing is taking those precautions to make sure that you feel in alignment with what you came in to do. You're leaving knowing that you are 1 step or 10 steps closer to that thing rather than 5 steps back. And then the final step that we do is called future pacing, which is really making sure that the work that we've done has sunk in and is setting you on a good foot forward as you go forward into the future. So we ask questions like, imagine a time in the future when, if it had happened in the past, you might have been tempted to eat or smoke or to charge way less than what you had wanted to charge, and tell me what you do instead. So basically, you might have been tempted to insert whatever that thing is that you're trying to overcome, or the trigger that is stressing you out, or the frustration point, or temptation point. When that happens, then we ask you, what are you going to do instead? And then we want to make sure that the answer is in alignment with the work that we've been doing now. So that's a little look at the process that you can go through to change your world. And whether you do it with a coach or you really dive into NLP or EFT or hypnosis and start trying to do this yourself or with a certified therapist, these are the types of things that you can do to really get to the subconscious level to change the way that you think, believe, and how you ultimately act, because we know that our thoughts, we get to choose. And a thought that we think enough turns into a belief. And thoughts and beliefs impact our feelings. They cause our emotions to happen because whatever is happening in the moment, whatever that circumstance, we get to choose what it means, and we're going to have a thought about it. And then the thought is going to impact the emotion. And then the emotion drives our actions. We're not going to act if we don't feel a certain way. So oftentimes the things that we do are because of how we feel in this very moment. So our feelings drive our actions, and then obviously our results come from our actions. Whatever we are doing or do not do gets us to where we are. So you can really back out of this by going, okay, what are the results I'm getting in my life? And how can I reverse engineer this? So these are the results. I'm sitting here, I'm podcasting, this is how much money I make, this is where I live. What are the actions I've been taking to get to this point? And then you go, okay, why do I take those actions? Or why am I not taking the actions so that I can get to a different point? Let's say I'm making $3,000 a month instead of $8,000 a month. Why is that? And what are the actions that I'm taking that are getting me the $3,000? And what are the actions that I'm not taking that thus are getting me the $3,000 instead of the $8,000? So we can identify those. And then we can back out to that and go, well, why am I taking these actions or why am I not taking these actions? What are the feelings and the emotions that I'm feeling that drive me to take these actions but not these? And then again, we can back out of that by understanding those thoughts. And whether it's a thought or a belief is just a thought we keep on thinking, but we can identify those thoughts and then we can identify the circumstance that causes those thoughts. And so since we can choose our thoughts, we can decide to work on that. But obviously, a lot of the thoughts that we think are happening on autopilot. So we need to become very aware about those thoughts that are happening. And that's where we go into that very first step of working through the coaching model, which is understanding your model of the world, understanding those thoughts and beliefs that you have. And we can start loosening those up, which is the step 2. And then we can go through change work of really trying to basically bring the heavy emotions and thoughts to the surface and incorporate new and better and more positive thoughts and emotions, or thoughts that ultimately lead to emotions. So that's a little taste of the things that I've been working on. And I am so excited to start integrating some of this stuff into my private coaching as well as my future workshops. It's a lot of things I've been putting out into the world, but now I have, that certification and all of the information and the training to really say, okay, this is the right stuff and this is the good stuff and this is where the transformations are going to come from. So I'm super excited about it. And I truly believe and know, and I've seen from this work and from these coaching sessions and steps that you truly can change your world. If you change your thoughts, you can change your world. And how do you change your thoughts? Well, we got to get into that subconscious mind and shake things up and do some change work. And so that comes through, working with a coach or getting deep into self-study, however you want to do it and get exposure to it, but you got to do the work. So if you guys are interested in more of this, I would love to hear. If you're listening to this show and you are loving this topic or you want more information on this topic, go ahead and screenshot the episode if you're listening on your phone and tag me at Tess_Wicks and share it on Instagram. Or if you share on Facebook, you can tag at Wander Wealthy. I'd love to see where you're listening from. And if you have any questions, you can always send me a DM or you can send me an email, tess@wanderwealthy.com. The final thing I want to leave you all with is I had mentioned this at the beginning, but I am going through my period of refinement, but I do also have some coaching positions open. So I'm obviously still showing up for all of my private clients and just gearing up for that next workshop launch, but I have some open positions for business owners who want to work on their finances, the cash flow system that is running through their business, feeling like they have a grasp on their money and understanding how to implement a system and a process and a rhythm and a routine that's going to make not only managing your money easier, but also making money easier, because we're not only going to work on the practical stuff, we're also going to work on the mindset stuff. So if this is you, if you're ready to up level your business and go into the final quarter of 2019 and go into 2020, really feeling like your business is ready for that next big step in income, you've already set up that system that is going to be prepared and ready for you. And maybe you just want to start paying yourself a good salary, or you want to have some profit in your business, or you want to figure out if you're ready to reinvest into a high-level mastermind, or sign up for this other big course or certification that you want to do, then I invite you to apply for private coaching with me. A little taste of what that looks like is it is 6 months. I think that is the best time to see true transformation and progress on your business. And I also like to work on your personal finances as well, because that's a huge ingredient to what's going to make your business successful. And it also helps us make sure that you've implemented a rhythm and routine on a monthly and a quarterly basis. Plus, you get to work with me super closely, and I do those twice a month plus once a month checkups. And we have 2 calls per month as well. So it's 6 months long. We have 2 calls per month. I do a little bit of office hours on what I like to call pay days, as well as CFO days. So CFO days are once a month, pay days are twice a month. It's super, super fun. And you will no longer dread looking at your business or personal bank account, and you'll start getting super excited for those paydays and for those CFO days. I love this stuff, obviously, and I love working with clients and seeing them get these transformations and, being there to support them and cheer them on and show them that it is totally possible. You can absolutely make the money that you've been dreaming of making, so you can live the lifestyle and make the impact through your business that you've been wanting to make. And you can do that by signing up for coaching. You can go to wanderwealthy.com/apply to get on the wait list and fill out an application form, and I will follow up with you very shortly. I have 5 spots open, and I am welcoming those many people into my sphere to work with me one-on-one, and I can't wait to meet you, especially if I haven't had a conversation with you yet. Just to wrap up, a couple of opportunities. First, private coaching with me, 6 months. We'll get deep in it and make sure that you are setting yourself up for a successful end of year and 2020 and beyond, go to wanderwealthy.com/apply to sign up. And then second, if you want to get on the phone with me and chat without any pitches, I'm not going to pitch you coaching or workshops or anything. I am just out here looking to do some market research. So if you are an online service-based business owner and specifically a coach, an online coach, I'd love to talk with you. Send me an email, tess@wanderwealthy.com. It'll take 20 minutes, no more, and I'll just be asking you a ton of questions to get to know you and what your pain points are and what you're loving lately. Find out a little bit more about your business. We can connect, and it'll be super fun. Either one of those, if those really feel right and aligned for you, I'd love to hear from you. And until next week, I hope you wander wealthy.